Hi, everybody. It's me, Jeff, the SP Spaz, back with another Ask Jeff Thursday video. And this week's question comes from one of my YouTube subscribers. And the question says, if in-depth understanding of the 16 personality was taught in schools all around the world, do you believe the understanding of human behavior patterns will be a positive benefit to societies or cause new bigotry and divide? That's an excellent question. And the short answer is yes, both. Because, like a lot of other things, um, it's something where I think the way that would be implemented would play a huge role in how successful it would be and how it would be treated. But like everything else, you have to understand that, it's people involved, all the same people that, create and run school systems the way they are now. And so when you're dealing with those people, then the things that are both the positives and negatives of the way school systems are run, all of those same factors would be in teaching type. So that's the thing you understand is that, okay, on a basic level, the overwhelming majority of school administrators and decision makers are guardian types, SJ types, and the majority of teachers are also, though there are slight, slightly higher percentages um, of other types in teaching, but it's still overwhelmingly guardian, overwhelmingly SJ in the Myers-Briggs for both teachers and especially administrators. So what you have to understand about that is that they're going to see those things through their filter in terms of the way they want to implement those things. So what I'm trying to say is that even if you were able to convince enough people in these leadership positions, school boards or whatever, the people that had to make the decisions about what the curriculum was in the school, able to convince them that teaching personality type was a good way, to implement this in the way that you teach was a good thing to do. You would still have it affected by all those other factors in terms of the way that it was implemented. And so that's why I said yes to the question about, like, would it promote more understanding? Yes, it probably would. There were actually quite a few people who would probably come out of a system where type was incorporated into teaching with more understanding and probably more interest in learning particular things. If you structured the school in a way where you said, okay, if you're these type of people, if we test you at a pretty young age and figure out, this is what you're interested in, and we sort of uh, not only uh, gear the subjects that we teach towards these things, but even the methods and the way that we incorporate them. To the extent that someone has the money and ability to do that, there would be a lot of benefits to it. But the second part of the question about would it lead to new bigotry and divide, that's also a yes, because anytime you have anything like that, there are going to be people who abuse it, and there are going to be people who use it for their own agendas, and those who use it to divide people and find ways to categorize people as bad, and we already experienced this, like I said, with the sort of bias that comes from having, a lot more SJ guardians in administrative and teaching roles. And again, this is not a knock on those people because, and SJs in general, it always, I always fear that it sort of sounds like that because a lot of people do exactly what I'm saying in terms of the bigotry aspect against SJs, because they sort of see SJs as, oh, they're the evil empire, the boogeyman that we blame for all our problems. If for somebody who is not an SJ, who is aware of temperament and type. So this is not an attempt to blame those people or say, they're evil in any way. It's just sort of accepting the reality that because they're the ones looking at it and implementing whatever the system is, it's going to be always sort of geared towards the people who don't conform or fit the way that those people think, students should be. Uh, they are going to be categorized as deficient in some way, not with the program, needing to be corrected or fixed in some way. So that's an aspect that, because of the way people naturally are, which is what type is all about, you're never going to be able to completely get rid of that, no matter what system you implement. And you might be thinking, okay, Jeff, well, what if you just had a school that was entirely designed by, NFs or SPs or whatever? Well, there's a few of those things that already exist in some places, sort of specialized schools later on, like for adults, and in some places in colleges, you have a larger, you know, group of people who are able to do that sort of thing. But in terms of younger children, sort of the formative years, um, it's hard to do that. Uh, I guess there's some preschools and stuff in some places that are as close to that as you can have. But anyway, yes, even if you had schools where you said, okay, we take the guardians out of it, even though that's very difficult to do. Am I saying that would bring about some sort of perfect, system of understanding? No, of course not. Because again, whoever's in charge, even if you have like a mix, if you have a balance, you try to say, okay, we're going to have uh, this school is going to have 4 administrators, one from each temperament. That's still not going to guarantee that somehow this is going to be everything's going to be equal and beneficial. You're still going to have the opportunity, because each one of those 4 people is going to have their own perspective, their own viewpoint about how this should be done and how all these things work together. And so you're still going to have um, some divide, and you're always going to have people that are going to use it as ways to ostracize people or whatever. Those things are just human nature. You can't entirely get rid of those things. Would I like to see it tried on a large scale, in terms of implementing sort of temperament knowledge, at least saying, okay, we figured out, these kids are idealists, these are artisans, these are guardians, and we can um, sort of put them, not necessarily divide them all the time. That's what I would not propose that. That's I think would be a bad thing if you just said, oh, we're gonna have entire classes formed with guardians and entire artisans and entire. I don't think that's a good idea. But having some times that you separate them into groups to do certain things, and even within the larger classroom focus, the methods being different. Obviously there are times where you're addressing the whole class and you can't really gear everything specifically towards that. But there are ways that I think you could implement. Yes, I would like to see something like that tried, at least as an experiment, to see, and for all I know, it has been. I'm not aware specifically of that being done. I know that the MBTI has been given to school children in certain contexts. Exactly how they use that once they got the results, I don't entirely know. I haven't heard about any kind of like widespread study in terms of using that. Obviously, an individual teacher could choose to do that. I believe it obviously depends on what, they could be somewhat handcuffed by their administrators or school board or things like that. Um, but there are ways, I think, and if I was a teacher, even of like elementary school students, I probably would find some way, I think, to try to implement those things within the context of what I'm allowed to do. So overall, I think it would be a good thing to try. Can it be completely free of people using it in bigoted ways or to divide people or ostracize people? No, of course not. There's no way to completely eliminate that. And there always are going to be things that in human nature and the nature of kids, kids will use those things. Even if you say, I've seen this in actual, nothing to do with personality type, just where kids have been divided into colors or, animal groups or whatever, because they thought, oh, this is a cute thing, fun thing for kids a way to learn. You still find those things used in that way, in ways that are negative at the same time. It's you can't get rid of that. So I would like to see it tried. If I'd say in this, if you know of even an individual classroom or certainly any kind of widespread thing where type has been used with school children, and you want to link me to it or tell me about it, by all means comment down below and let me know about that, because I'm not aware of any particular thing like that. But it may just be that I missed it, because obviously there's plenty of things that happen that I'm oblivious to. So Please like and share this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And like I said, tell me about schools and stuff in the comments. Leave a question in the comments if you have a question you want me to answer in a video, or just in the comments, whatever. And any of those other ways to reach me on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. Hit the bell for notifications if you haven't done that, because I'm trying to get new videos up Monday through Friday. And hopefully this answered your question. But if it didn't, feel free to comment and let me know more specifics of what you want to know about it. It's definitely a subject that I've talked about before and could talk about at length. And actually, there are several other videos on my channel where I talk about my own experiences growing up in school, and even some of the type interactions I talked to the other person about their school experiences. So I've got some other videos. I don't, if I think of anything in actual particular, I'll try to put that in, link it down below also. But otherwise, I can just say, check out my other videos. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Please leave your comments, and we'll see you next time.